What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward, talk about other factors out there, what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, and the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as NIO is going, I'm anticipating I might see a little bit of a dip to fill this gap very, very soon. But if we can establish a higher low here, there's a good chance it's going to bounce again and continue this uptrend as we have a double bottom pattern and a nice potential bounce that could be coming. So what's happening to the share price? We're seeing that JP Morgan downgraded them from an overweight rating to a neutral rating. And since then, we're not really seeing anything else that's too significant for the share price. The price-risk ratio went up just a little bit. It did build a little bit of strength for the last couple of days, but since then, it's been a bit stuck. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are historically green about 55% of the time each day, at least around that range. They tend to be better days. So if we do start off Tuesday with a small dip, hopefully we get a balance and we continue on Wednesday. And besides that, I haven't seen anything else that's too crazy. I did see some talk involving Donald Trump and the new tariffs making headlines, but for now, there was nothing new that's affecting NIO, at least for the time being. Now, there's some headlines coming out. They're asking the questions, what should you buy, NIO stock or Rivian? The answer is both of them have value, but right now, there's different ways to kind of look at things. And I think this is a very, very interesting comparison. If anything, one thing that's worth mentioning is that NIO is burning less cash than Rivian, and they do have some time to figure out how they're going to operate their business profitably. We are assuming they're going to be achieving this within a year from now, and I think that would be very, very awesome. Their battery swapping technology is very, very bullish, in my opinion. So they both have their ups and downs, but right now, this headline is saying that NIO is growing its business faster than that of Rivian's, and with positive free cash flow, which could be coming soon. I think that's going to be very, very positive for them, and I think that could help the share price in a lot of different ways. So it is looking very promising. We'll see how things go, at least moving forward. Besides that, we're seeing some talk about the EC7. This is their SUV that's getting a lot of attention as they expand to different regions. And then on top of that, when it comes to the broader markets, we had a mixed day on Friday, very flat today. We did see some tickers such as Nvda trying to take off, so that's a very, very good sign. And for the week, there's not much coming out for the markets. Today is President's Day in the US. It's a holiday, which is why I'm not really uploading as much. I'll just upload this video, then I'll be back to normal tomorrow. Keep in mind that we have some new changes right over here. We have a couple of bill auctions on Tuesday. Nothing else that's too significant. We do have the FOMC minutes, however, on Wednesday, so that may cause some volatility. Besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy. Donald Trump did announce some reciprocal tariffs that actually caused the market to pump on Thursday. The market continued to hold up on Friday despite that. So that's pretty interesting to see. And with these tariffs coming out, we'll see what this leads to, at least for the markets. For now, there's some optimism associated with the fact that he is trying to incentivize different countries to lower tariffs in the US because he wants to charge them back whatever they charge us. So, for example, if a country like India is charging around 10% for most tariffs, or even like 15%, they're incentivized to charge less if they want US products to be cheaper. So, we'll see how that goes. But if anything, this is still a work in progress. We'll see what happens by April when the tariffs are imposed. That's going to take some time. Right now, the market is very close to neutral. It does open the doors for more upside as we're not even at greed yet. And in terms of our overall numbers, keep in mind that for earnings, we have very, very, very minor earnings for tomorrow. We have Etsy on Wednesday alongside Wix and Carvana. Then on Thursday, we have Alibaba and Walmart, lots of retail. And besides that, there's nothing else too crazy. But I do want to note that some of these Chinese earnings will affect stocks like NIO. One good piece of news for the Nvda investors out there is we're seeing some buy ratings coming out from Morgan Stanley, which is a good piece of news, especially as they have earnings in about 9 days from now. What do I think NIO is going to do? Well, right now I'm anticipating a little bit of a move to the downside here to fill this gap, especially as you have this like imbalance over here. We'll see if we can try to hold around that 4.2 area before it tries to bounce back up and move like this. That's very likely as the most likely possibility. I see something very similar happening to SPY. So SPY has some tough resistance around 610. If we break that, we could push for 612.5, then 611. If we don't, there could be a small pullback back down to about 608. If that fails, we're looking for 605 or so before we try to bounce again. So it depends on the levels. Lose 608, we dip back down towards these lower levels. If we break 610, we're looking for a bounce. In my opinion, it's very possible to get a small pullback before it tries to bounce higher like this. For now, this is looking like an attempt to break out, but we have to see if we get a confirmation bounce. So a small pullback would be very healthy before we see some buyers who try to step in again. The QQQ is looking bullish, forming a nice inverse head and shoulders, nice accumulation-like structure. But if we get a small pullback first before we try to bounce like this, that's very, very healthy and very, very probable. Same thing with our other tickers. We have ES looking bullish. It hasn't reached the 6160s yet. Once again, hitting the all-time high. Could dip first before it tries to do that, but there's a very, very good chance more upside could be coming. For NQ, we have the same setup with an inverse head and shoulders. Hitting the top of this range should put us around 22,400. We might see a dip first before it tries to continue to break out like that, but that's what I'm essentially looking for. As long as we don't lose 22,000, we're going to be fine. We could dip to the lower 22,000 before we see the big bounce. For others out there, we also happen to have Bitcoin. Bitcoin has support at 95,000, resistance at 98,500. So we'll see if we get a bounce here or not. For Nvda, we have a gap to fill above. We could dip a little bit before it tries to continue to push, but I think we easily go to the 145 plus area, and eventually 150. Tesla's trying to rebound. We have an inverse head and shoulders. There's a downward channel on this. As you guys can see, it's making lower highs and lower lows. It is possible, as long as there's no bad news, we go a little bit higher for like 362. We got to break that. If that breaks, we're looking for a bigger push. And then we'll see if we get a rejection again to make a move back down to continue this lower channel. So we're technically on a downtrend. We might see a temporary bounce, and we'll see if the move lasts or not. So please keep that in mind. For other stocks such as like Apple's looking bullish, looking for the 248's target. Could dip before it tries to bounce up there, but it's looking very, very promising. Coinbase, it dipped a little bit. It could be dipping a little bit lower towards the target at around 265 before it tries to bounce again. Right now, Amazon's looking a little bit weaker. It's technically on a bit of a downtrend. We might see a small dip to about 226 to 225 before it tries to bounce, but looks a little bit more bearish. On the other hand, Meta's looking bullish. As long as we're above our 20 EMA at 725, we could continue to push for the 740s. Microsoft is looking decent. It's kind of flat here. It might dip closer to about 404 before it tries to bounce. And then Google may also attempt a rebound. If we break 188, we're looking for an attempt for 190, so we'll see how it goes. With that being said, guys, I thank you all so much for listening. As far as NIO is going, it is looking bullish in terms of the overall trend. Might see a small pullback to fill this gap first before we see a nice bounce, so give it some time. With that being said, guys, I thank you all so much for listening. I'll be back with another update tomorrow. Keep in mind the stock market's close today for President's Day, so I just wish you guys a very happy President's Day weekend. Please enjoy what life has to offer and remain optimistic. And I'll be back very soon with another update in just a couple of in just one day from now. So the market's going to open like normal tomorrow, so keep that in mind. Everything goes back to normal, and we'll see how things end up going from there. All right, so the market may see a small dip before it tries to bounce higher. I anticipate that that's the most likely possibility, and we'll see how things go from here. Thank you for listening, and peace out.